What you gonna do when Chevy John don't come for you?
Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley. We're here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, where we're talking about law enforcement and community outreach with Deputy Josh Dubin, and a man who might be the next president of the United States, according to some sources.
Oh, my God.
Commander Parker, your rank's just going to keep going up. I'm telling you, boss. Now, we were just talking about back-to-school information. Also, one thing I forgot to bring up was emergency evacuation plans and emergency information. That's something I think probably is overlooked a lot because, you know, everybody's worrying about the things that are likely going to happen. You don't think about that worst-case scenario as often, right?
Absolutely. You know, as far as the schools, the Sheriff's Department works very closely with schools who are super cooperative in the city as well, and they really are putting the kids' best interests first, and there's consistent evacuation plans and also shelter-in-place plans for all the local schools. But the question is, do the parents know what those plans are? And all you have to do is talk to your school administrator, probably not on the first day of school, probably not the best day to do that, but over the ensuing days and weeks to find out what is the school's plan. And go to those parent-teacher meetings and the school meetings and listen, because they will tell you what the plan is.
And as far as like emergency cards, I mean, should there be like a laminate on your kid with numbers he should dial, or what type of information should the children have as opposed to, you know, the parents?
Sure, you can give some for the kids to carry. You know, they got a lot of things to remember, and I know we kind of drill into them their home address and home phone, but I doubt that they remember grandma's phone and other phone numbers that could be really helpful to them. And these days, we all have them programmed into our cell phones, and we completely forget the numbers now. So something written down, but don't put it in plain sight. Like don't write your child's name on their clothing or the backpack, because that would enable a stranger to, you know, shout out to them, make it seem like they know the child who might forget that their name's on there.
Right.
So those are great safety tips and it calms everybody down, especially the parents, because they're more worried than the kids are.
Right.
And, you know, I think that this conversation ties in exactly with social media, and an incident comes to mind. We had a brush fire situation. I think you were out there with me, actually, Perry, in Castaic a number of months ago, and one of the elementary schools in the area was in session, and they ended up doing like a shelter-in-place type thing as the brush fire, you know, slowly became closer. And it's very important to know how to receive information quickly. And, you know, we understand that, you know, different people receive their information in different ways and, you know, on various platforms. But we, at least as the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station and pretty much throughout Los Angeles County, have an outstanding social media network. And we were able to quickly, you know, put out information partnering with the schools. The schools also have programs, you know, such as the robo-dial that calls back. Some of the schools have a text program that they're able to text your phone, you know, emergency information. Hey, you know, the new pickup spot for all the children is going to be here. Or, hey, don't come and pick up the children right now. We're going to shelter in place. We're going to do a roadblock until this, you know, particular incident right here is over, then we're going to do this. So I think that's also an important conversation to have. Right, and if you follow at SCV Sheriff on Twitter, then you can get a lot of that information sent directly out to you. Same thing for at KHTS AM 1220. We retweet Sheriff information constantly in those types of situations. And my own personal, can I plug my own? I don't. You have a new beard, Perry.
Why not? Comes with a beard. At Perry R. Smith. At MPLASD, right? Commander Parker?
Yeah, that's mine on Twitter, and you know, it really is reassuring, I know, as a parent, when you see these updates and you see what's not going on, not just what is going on, what's not going on. Right. It reduces people's fear because, you know, that unknown is very worrisome. But it's also a reminder that the schools send out the literature this time of year, every year, and they ask you to fill out all those forms and your phone numbers and all that contact information. You really need to take it seriously, because that's how they're going to reach out to you with the robo-dial, you know, the many phone calls simultaneously to tell people what's going on, who is okay to pick up your child other than yourself. And when I filled those out, I did them with my kids. I did it with them. And as they got older, I made them fill them out, and I sat there and watched. And it was a great reinforcement to them without being scary, just about what the importance of these things are.
And speaking of conversations with your kids, obviously social media is one area where both you and Josh have a lot of experience, and as far as talking with the communities. Commander Parker, I know you do some trainings for law enforcement. Do you still host those classes for other outside law enforcement agencies?
We do, and I've been privileged to speak at 50-plus conferences to thousands of cops, and then we've done at least 25 of these two-day classes for thousands of other cops and firefighters and others. And one thing I'll say about kids and social media is it's hard to be a kid today. It is harder than it was when I was a kid. And one of the examples I give is if a kid, when I was a little guy, was getting bullied at school, he could go home, and most likely he had a decent family, and the bullying would stop. Or if he got pushed around, it's because he should have taken the trash out and he forgot. But now, kids can be bullied at school, and then bullied on their way home from school if they look at their cell phone, depending upon what kind of phone they have, and then they can go home and go on the computer at home and get bullied on social media. And this is very troubling to youth who, really haven't developed that much self-confidence and so on. And so parents need to be really proactive about this. It really is much deeper. I know a lot of parents hear about this. I hear from parents all the time, and they hear about it, but they're not sure what to do. And there's certainly plenty of things that can be done, and the number one is learn about it. How does this work?
And Commander Parker, we have to take a quick commercial break, but I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about that conversation between parents and their children regarding social media education when we come right back from this commercial break on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
What you want, what you gonna do when Chevy John Brown come for you?
Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley. We're on the Neighborhood Watch with Deputy Josh Dubin of the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station's Crime Prevention Unit and the man without the mustache, Commander Parker. That was recently shaved after years of law enforcement mustachery.
Yeah, my wife talked me into it. I had it for 29 years, and I saved it off for Valentine's Day to make her happy. But I took her out to dinner too. I wasn't just trying to get off cheap.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough.
Did you say mustachery?
Mustachery.
Yeah, I heard that.
Is that
I was not.
Everybody was willing. You know what? Commander Parker was willing to let it go, right? There's a rank and file. All right. So we were just talking about leading into this, the conversation that parents should be having with social media. And here on the Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds, we like to talk about that outreach and that interaction that parents and kids should be having whenever we can help out with that. And Commander Parker, I'm sure you have some programs, some apps that parents should be aware of. I've been hearing a little bit about Kik, the KIK, this new app. Can you talk to me a little bit about that, or some things you've heard about it?
Well, I'll start it with a couple things and let Josh pick it up from there. Is that when I mentioned about it's a lot harder to be a kid today, but it's also a lot harder to be a parent today because there's so many of these different programs and social media type of programs that are out there. As a parent, you think, how the heck do I keep up with that? But I know when I was a child that, I'm one of 6 kids, and we had a phone in a common area in the house, and that was the only place we were allowed to talk on the phone. And so my parents were able to easily monitor how long we were on the phone, and they periodically yell, "Who are you talking to?" That kind of thing. Whereas now, kids could be communicating with 30, 40 different people, including, a registered sex offender in Australia. I mean,
right.
It's a totally different arena today. And there's also so many distractions now. How do kids focus on their studies when they got computers and electronic devices to distract them, and then also you see these terrible patterns like with dares and whatnot, where kids are daring each other to put a flammable liquid on themselves and light themselves on fire. I mean, how do you even make something like that up? And there have been many tragedies as a result. And some people probably hearing that and saying, well, that can't possibly be true. And I see it all over social media all day with these young kids. And so they have all these different ways to share that information, and you mentioned one. So, Josh, why don't you talk about that one?
Well, we know about Twitter. We've talked about that extensively on the Neighborhood Watch, and we know about Facebook, obviously one of the most popular social media platforms worldwide, basically. Something that I'm seeing more, and Perry was just talking to me about it, is a program called Kik, which is K-I-K. And to kind of wrap it up, and again, I'm not an expert on it, to kind of summarize it, it's a free texting app. You can download it, obviously, for free. Free texting app. It has over 50 million users so far worldwide, and it enables users to basically connect with strangers. And some of the reports have come out saying that the primary age groups utilizing this social media platform are 11 to 15-year-olds. And the app can be installed on your iPad Touch, an iPad, an iPhone, pretty much any smartphone. And the users are supposed to be over 13 years old. Over 13 years old. And it talks about that in their terms of service, that they're supposed to be over 13 years old. However, this app is not compliant with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. And there's really no way of, verifying the age of the child that's using it. So because of this, it doesn't have much parental controls. There's allegedly a lot of, graphic images on there. And bouncing off of that, if you use other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, different things like that, and say you publicly post your Kik, K-I-K, your Kik username, that, what Commander Parker was just talking about, there could be internet trolls, there could be sexual predators in another country even that now have this Kik username and now can start messaging your child potentially. And like I said, some of these children using this app, 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, and some of them, are not savvy enough to understand that, these are, internet trolls, these are potential predators that could be out there.
Well, and also I would think that, if you have somebody who's trying to get that information and graft and manipulation with a 13 or a 14-year-old, at that age, a little bit about your information. You could give up your parents' information and not realize that you're giving up information, I'd imagine, too.
Right.
And one thing that it kind of brings up to the conversation, and I don't know if there's an actual, an official recommended age, but as far as at what age should a child have a smartphone versus just a regular phone for you to call them, that's still an option, right? They don't have to have,
absolutely,
the internet and all these other web services on their phone. They can just get a simple phone for parents to call them. I mean, is there any sort of age? I think what Commander Parker was saying about, being able to watch it, it's a really valid concern, Yeah,
and I would say that, one of the things that's become more and more difficult to purchase a non-smartphone. To get just a regular flip phone like my dad's got, that he can make phone calls and he can text.
Right.
Is that those are more difficult to find. You almost got to buy them on eBay or something these days now. But you can get with your smartphone, if you get one for your kid, is make it not so smart by restricting all kinds of systems on it. As far as what age should your child be able to have full access to these things like this, I guess my answer to that is typically, at what age would you feel comfortable allowing a complete stranger to sit alone in your child's bedroom with the door locked while you're not home?
So over 18 is what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's good.
Right.
I think it really depends on the person and the child, and that's why if you put controls on it, and when I mentioned about the computers, so you could do that, put those controls on a smartphone and a computer. And my kids are now in their early 20s. But what I did was I put a computer in a common area of the house, and that was the only computer that they had internet access to. So at any point, I could come in and out. That's one thing. Another thing is a keylogger, and a keylogger is a program you can add to your computer, and any computer store can tell you how to do this. I can't, name a brand.
Right.
Is that and you get this keylogger, and that would tell you every keystroke that your child hit, and basically you can see everything that they did on the computer. And lots of parents' typical thing is, I don't want my kids to think I don't trust them, and they want to have a good relationship with their kids. Well, like I told my kids, is that, my kids are wonderful people. I told them this, you are a wonderful person. Any kid would be lucky to be your friend. Millions of kids would want to be your friend. But I am the only person on the planet who can be your dad, and this is my job. And I trust you, but I don't trust these other people that want to hurt you. And that's the conversation that I had with my kids. And they survived and became great, productive members of society as young adults. And yes, they still love me, and they don't blame me. They know I was doing the right thing.
Awesome. Commander Parker, we got to take another quick commercial break. Can I have you stick around for one more segment on the Neighborhood Watch?
Sure.
Awesome. We'll be right back, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds, your Neighborhood Watch on AM 1220 KHTS.